We're now 13 days from the Iowa caucuses, 21 from the first in the nation primary. We'll be in New Hampshire that day and the days leading up to it. And as we get closer, we're continuing our examination of the real issues of the 2016 election. So far, we've looked at where the candidates stand on guns and immigration. Next up, ISIS and the terrorist threats to our nation. Adam Riley reports.
Ask Bernie Sanders how the U.S. should deal with the rise of the self-described Islamic State, and he makes 2 points. First, it's not my fault.
I voted against the first Gulf War, which set the stage, I believe, for the second Iraq War.
And Sanders adds when it comes to fighting ISIS, Muslim countries need to step it up.
To tell Saudi Arabia that instead of going to war in Yemen, they, one of the wealthiest countries on earth, are going to have to go to war against ISIS. Tell Qatar that instead of spending $200 billion on the World Cup, maybe they should pay attention to ISIS.
That's a sharp tonal contrast with Hillary Clinton. While she says deploying large numbers of American troops would be disastrous, she also says the U.S. role is crucial.
This is a worldwide fight, and America must lead it.
Clinton has some baggage here, with her former boss topping the list. President Obama infamously disparaged ISIS as a JV team and said on the eve of the Paris attacks that ISIS had been contained. On the stump, Clinton says that's impossible.
It cannot be contained, it must be defeated.
But the Democrats aren't the only ones fighting recent history.
Let Syria and ISIS fight. Why do we care?
Since then, Donald Trump has evolved.
I would bomb the shit out of them.
Other Republicans are a bit more nuanced. There's debate about whether Bashar al-Assad should stay or go, and fear that Trump's rhetoric will alienate Islamic allies.
Banning all Muslims will make it harder for us to do exactly what we need to do.
But there's also widespread agreement that when it comes to talking about ISIS, President Obama is doing it wrong.
Our enemy is not violent extremism. It is not some unnamed malevolent force. It is radical Islamic terrorism.
Which might be the only point on which Ted Cruz and Bernie Sanders almost agree.
This is a war for the soul of Islam. The troops.
Adam Riley joins me now. Adam, good to see you. It seems to me, we know how important this is to the candidates, but how important to the voters is a function of when the question is asked. Put up a Gallup poll for a moment. Right after San Bernardino and Paris, #1 most important U.S. problem. This is in December, 16%, down to 9%. And by the way, in November, before both those, it was 3%. So it is a function of the times, no?
It is very much a function of the times, but I think there's also a kind of a bigger sea change that's gone on here that we should pay attention to. Also Gallup data. 2 years ago, 69% of people said that they were satisfied with, as Gallup put it, the nation's security from terrorism. That was 59% a year ago, 43% right now. That's a precipitous long-term decline. So you're right, if something happens that's horrific, all of a sudden it's the most important issue, then it recedes a bit. But people, I think, are clearly more worried than they were a few years back.
So in light of the fact that the dance the Democrats have to, Sanders, but particularly Clinton, is I'm like this guy you really like, the Democrats, namely Barack Obama, but you're not crazy about what he's done on terror. How do they do that dance? Embrace him, but stand back.
Yeah, well, I think with her, it's that conceptual reframing that we saw in the package where she says, unlike the president's claim that we can contain them, we need to destroy them, containment's not enough. She also kind of says, basically, the president has the right idea, but we need to do it more intensely and make it work better. You know, keep the basic approach, but intensify it, hone it, so it's more effective. Sanders seems to just want to, guilt the Muslims, or Muslims, as he puts it, into doing what he thinks they should be doing. And I really think his weakness here can't be overstated. I had a chance once to ask him about ISIS and the right way to respond. He always says, I voted against the first Iraq war. That led to the second Iraq war. He doesn't like to talk foreign policy. He doesn't bring it up in his big town meetings. It's an afterthought for him, and I think that's something voters are going to pay attention to.
Well, he used to bring up that he voted against the Iraq war and Hillary Clinton voted for it. He did not mention that. He said he voted against it. He didn't mention that she voted for it. So before you go, I'm trying to figure out how I can connect this to foreign policy. I really can't. What do you think of the Sarah Palin endorsement of Donald Trump? I think it's a pretty big deal.
Do you think it's a big deal?
Yes, particularly in Iowa.
I think it'll help him in Iowa. Sarah Palin is like Donald Trump, but with longer hair and less money, right? I mean, the same set of grievances, the same beef with America going to hell under the liberals. I would think it would help him consolidate his support. I'm not sure how much it grows the Trump coalition going forward, but if the point is winning Iowa, big deal.
Says for Tea Partiers, it's okay to vote for Donald Trump. He's one of us.
Yes.
Adam, thanks so much.
Thanks, Jim.